But obviously somebody's funding Antifa. Antifa is not is not an idea. No, it's an organization. They're fucking somebody's funding it. They're the part of I'm not saying all of it, but they're part of what's causing a lot of these cities like Portland, Chicago to be overrun with mass murder and crime and looting stores, breaking into houses. And the thing is I don't understand why they're doing this shit. But we got to fight back, y'all. We got to. We can't. If you let them run over you, they're just gonna keep running over you. You can't do it. You just can't fucking do it. But let's see what the fuck. Where was it at? Is this it? Yeah, I think this is it.
Welcome to Coin 6 News at 11. I'm Lisa Balick. Protests in Portland and in dozens of other cities in Oregon and Southwest Washington.
Hey, speaking of ice, it's hilarious. I've seen this video where this guy, well, I say guy, it was a Mexican family. I don't know if it was actually a real thing that happened or if it was just a skit they were doing, but it was definitely filmed in a McDonald's. But it was this Mexican family, right? And they went up to they gave the order or whatever, and then the freaking cashier, she goes, "Would you like ice with your drink?" And he's like, "Ice." And then they all start taking off running out the McDonald's. It was hilarious.
Relatively peaceful during the daytime, but that's not the case outside the ICE facility in South Portland tonight. Tear gas, pepper bullets are being deployed.
See, look at this shit. I mean, think of another organization that has rallied up so many people that we've ever had to really use National Guard forces or military for that matter to get shit under control. That tells me the cops ain't doing their job, or somebody's telling the cops they can't do their job. If the cops were doing their job, the military wouldn't have to go in there to begin with.
For several hours.
I told you. What did I tell you? Didn't I tell you? 'Cause I told you. And when did I tell you? A long time ago. And what did I say will happen when I told you? Exactly what just happened.
So it is genuinely interesting how narratives and mass political
What the fuck does hold on. So fucked up that even the introverts are here. Okay. Oh, time out. Time out. I would say I wouldn't consider myself an introvert per se. I would say I'm half and half. Like I do fine in public, but I prefer not to be in public places around a bunch of fucking people because that's where bad shit happens. I think it's more of a not being an introvert, just being safety conscious, I guess. Well, I'm good around people, but I take offense to that. It's so fucked up that even the introverts are out here. Yeah, man, don't be putting all the introverts in one category, yo. No kings in New York City, a powerful, peaceful protest. Yeah, okay. What is this no kings bullshit? It ain't like he's gonna be a king in 4 years. So he's gonna be out. It'll be his last term. I don't know.
psychosis come together, because we've sat here and listened to liberals lecture us all weekend on how the No Kings protests were entirely peaceful, and this greatly undermines.
Yeah, is that kind of like the summer of love bullshit where they were saying, "Oh, peaceful protests," but they were fucking destroying people's businesses? Apparently, they're telling these cops to stand down. They're telling these cops they can't intervene, they can't do shit. Who's telling them to do that? Like even back in the summer of love when they were destroying Portland and Chicago, New York, cops wasn't doing anything. Kind of like that kid. Who was that kid in Wisconsin? Uh, what was his name? Kyle. I can't remember his last name, but it was the kid that shot a couple of the protesters. He went there to protect people's homes because they were destroying people's homes, breaking into businesses, throwing shit all over the street, throwing bricks at cars, destroying people's vehicles. And he actually, and the cops were there. He was running at them before he had to shoot the people, and they wouldn't even help. So yeah, man, I don't. Somebody's behind it. Antifa is definitely a terrorist organization. They can call it what they want. It's a terrorist organization. Full stop.
Right-wing narratives about left-wing violence. And of course, Antifa, what is that? That doesn't even exist, and they didn't show up or commit violence. But the thing is, none of that is true at all. It is all false. As a matter of fact, Antifa did show up, and as a matter of fact, they did commit violence, particularly in, but not even excluded to, the war zone city of
Why does it look like they're holding paintball guns? That's what it looks like they're holding is paintball guns. It's some like real life Call of Duty shit right there.
Portland, Oregon, where after 4 p.m. yesterday, a bunch of agitators decided to show up for their weekly Saturday night riot and went on for multiple hours on end. And as a matter of fact, if you're regular viewers of the channel, you should already know about this because earlier in the week, we were actually talking about how Portland Antifa and even other organizations were seeking to basically infiltrate the No Kings protest movement as a way to shield their violence among the so-called peaceful protesters. And yet, what did you?
Yeah, I mean, can we talk? I hate to keep going back to the summer of love, supposedly, right? But can we go back and talk about obviously somebody's funding them because why would there be pallets of bricks that just fucking show up where they're going to be protesting at, right? Who's delivering these bricks? Who's delivering all this shit? Somebody's got to be doing it. Everybody says George Soros or whatever, but I don't. Maybe he is, but I don't think he is a fuck. I mean, I looked him up. He's like 95 years old. I really don't think he would. I don't know. I think he would have better things to do than worry about getting some bricks delivered. You know what I mean? But who knows?
See millions of, well, not even millions, probably thousands, right, of useful idiot Democrat voters going out yesterday holding signs, defending their Democrat Party as Antifa, or, wearing shirts saying, I am Antifa, trying to paint this as some type of peaceful anti-fascism movement, when in reality, what did all of those crowds of people do yesterday? Endorse the very violent communists who took to the streets right after the old geriatrics went home at about 1 p.m. and the mainstream media turned off the cameras and started committing violence in the United States of America. So here we go again. We'll tell you all about it. We'll explain exactly.
Yeah, isn't that kind of convenient? They'll be doing. I've always wondered that too. It's always convenient that you'll have the big news media there, and they'll be like, "Here, we're here at this peaceful protest or whatever." And then when the riots and shit break out, all of a sudden the cameras are nowhere to be found. Like they cut that part out.
What happened, because this is getting virtually no coverage, and yet it is pretty mainstream, prevalent news, is it not? If you're going to do these hour-long news coverage of how peaceful the No Kings protests were, isn't it a pretty obvious undermining of that spinning and that narrative that it just wasn't peaceful? Anyways, we'll get into it. First, though, do us a favor. If you enjoy our content, make sure you hit that like button down below and subscribe to the channel if you are new. That is the best way to support our work and ensure that we can keep doing these videos. And with that said, here is just simply one example of it. We'll go kind of in the best chronological order that
The No Kings protest in Portland is now a full-on riot here outside of the ICE facility, and federal agents are unloading tear gas on rioters who are assaulting agents. It's only 4 p.m. and protesters are already getting violent. We need National Guard. You know what it was? You know what would stop this? I know this isn't going to be a popular opinion, y'all. But you know what would stop all this bullshit is you actually start putting real bullets into people. Start dropping some fucking bodies out in the street. When they start seeing bodies dropping in the street, then they'll disappear in a hurry. Tear gas ain't going to do anything. Start dropping some of these motherfuckers.
I can put together. As Nick Sortor reported yesterday at only 4 p.m. in Portland, the protests did indeed begin to start rioting, which resulted in the deployment of tear gas. And let's just take a look again as these No Kings protests got so peaceful.
Oh yeah, so peaceful.
This is what the world's most advanced PC looks like.
Yeah, that looks so peaceful.
And by the way, we'll point this out later because the local news is going to confirm it. But this is don't think these are separate events. This is the very crowd who went to the No Kings Portland protest in some public park. They marched down to the ICE facility, and immediately this is what happened next. Okay, so don't pretend like this is some separate event. No, these are the No Kings protesters doing exactly this. Again, immediately as the cameras turned off at about 1 p.m., the mainstream media basically said the whole thing is over. Look what they did next. And it also kind of raises a serious question as to journalistic integrity. Why
they only show you what they want you to see, and they only tell you what they want you to hear. I mean, the news has always been that way. I think that's why people like podcasts so much, because the news used to just get somebody that they wanted to say, say whatever they say and have it fit their narrative. With podcasts, you get a more long form. You kind of get like the full story instead of like just bits and pieces of the story. Honestly, I think podcasts are going to kill news media. I think news media is fucking done. Even Fox, as much as I hate to say it, I think Fox will probably be down the tubes at one point.
Exactly. You wouldn't stay posted to see, what happens when the crowd quote unquote dissipates? Actually, where are they going? Now, later in the night, you can see the situation, this totally peaceful protest looks like a full out war zone. And I want to bring this up in particular because
So to all those people that would say, what do you need an assault rifle for? What do you need an AR-15? Why do you need so many bullets? Well, this is a prime example right here. Prime example. Think about, I know that they're protesting and they got ICE agents that are armed, but let's assume that you're just an innocent bystander and these people come along and they start coming after you. Shit, I want an AR-15. I'm going to start loading bullets in everybody. Damn the consequences later. I'm going to save my ass and my families if they're with me,
Tora and other journalists on the ground were talking about how there was like a back and forth exchange where, because obviously they're going to paint the narrative from the liberal side that, it's just innocent, peaceful protesters being tear gassed. But hopefully those of you who watch the channel are well enough acute and understanding of this by now to know that is virtually never actually the case. And you can actually see how munitions get thrown back and forth. So protesters are throwing things at the federal.
Would somebody like to explain to me what the fuck that is in a wheelchair there? What? This right here, this picture. Well, y'all can't see maybe you can see my cursor. I don't know. But you see this person in black in the wheelchair? Looks like they got a black mask on. You can't even make out their face. What the hell is that? Like they're wearing a costume or something.
Agents. The federal agents are like shooting tear gas in return, and it's kind of hard to tell, but you can see parts of that on this video, so check it out, right?
How fucking crazy is that? Why would somebody be down there in a wheelchair? I mean, that's asking to get preyed upon if you're disabled. Man.
So it's kind of hard to see where some of these sparks are coming from particularly, but then you see like stuff starts flying this way, it looks like, right? And then this guy, what's he approaching for?
But the thing is most of these people aren't this, at a lot of these protests, they're not even the civilians that live in the city. Like a lot of these people come from out of state or out of city. They don't even live in the city. So obviously somebody's got to be funding them because these people definitely aren't employed. If they got time to be running from city to city, from Chicago to fucking Portland, Oregon to Wisconsin, New York. They obviously don't have jobs, so somebody's got to be feeding them. Somebody's got to be paying them.
right? And then look at that. So you see things, right, getting thrown back at the federal agents, but these people are going to sit there and, of course, say that they are entirely peaceful protesters. Look at that. It looks like a war zone, right? Of course, they say, they keep trying to tell President Trump, war-ravaged Portland is such an exaggeration. What is wrong with you? It's completely peaceful. What did Jimmy Kimmel say the other day? Actually, let's play that right now, right? Nothing is going on. Nothing to see here.
Jimmy Kimmel's a fucking idiot. I can't even believe they let him back on the air, y'all. He's not even that funny, honestly. I never found him to be very funny.
Antifa is just short for anti-fascist. It's not a club you can join. There's no membership, dude.
That is totally bullshit. We know it's bullshit. You guys watching know it's bullshit. Jesus Christ, dude. I don't understand some of these people, man.
But they have matching signs. I'm going to tell you this. Spread it around. There's no chaos in Portland. None. There is no chaos in Chicago. There was no chaos.
You know, the funny thing is when they talk to most of the citizens are like, if we had the money, we would get out of these cities, or the cops need to help us, or we want the National Guard here. For some reason, I don't know if it obviously isn't the federal government. Maybe it's somebody in the federal government. But I don't know if it's these local governments that are just wanting this to happen. I don't get it. Obviously, somebody's funding them, though. Like I said, these people are definitely not employed. They're not making money, but they got money to be going from town to town, causing riots.
Chaos in Los Angeles. They're pretending there's chaos as a pretense for a military takeover. But I'm open-minded. If there is chaos in these cities Trump calls hellholes, let's see it and decide if something needs to be done about it.
Okay, well, first,
And a lot of these people that are commenting about it don't even live there. I guarantee you Jimmy Kimmel doesn't live in Portland. Guarantee you he doesn't. Probably can't even tell you what the main street is there.
First of all, we've well established on the channel, but Antifa is indeed an organization and a network of organizations with members. Now, much like Islamic terrorism, there is a decentralized nature to it. So there are certainly left-wingers outside of the formal Rose City Antifa or Antifa International or the Strike Torch Antifa network who do still commit violence. But, that's just simply not true. Jimmy Kimmel.
Like I said, they probably won't do it, but I think they should, man. See, that's why I couldn't be president, because I would have, if I could, man, I'd tell them, hey, start dropping bodies. As soon as they start seeing people drop in the street right there, them people ain't hanging around. See, the thing is, though, is they know that you're not going to shoot them. You're just going to shoot tear gas, maybe some rubber bullets, if that. You're not, but you start laying some of these motherfuckers out in the road there. You'll see that crowd start disappearing really quick.
Of course, recently taken off the air for telling lies. He continues to tell them again, but still, nonetheless, okay, the more important point there,
And I'd give them a warning, too. I'd say, hey, look, if you're there to peacefully protest, you protest. But if you launch one thing, I don't give a fuck if it's a bottle. You launch one thing at us or the facility, you're getting filled up with lead, period. And stick to that. And the first one that throws a bottle, you just lay him out. Maybe try to shoot him in the leg so you don't kill him. But if you do kill him, hey, you got to make an example out of one or a couple of them. But they'll get the message real fast, and you'll see that crowd won't be hanging around very long.
There's no chaos in Portland.
Eve to me is basically
no
freedom.
chaos.
It's a giant open universe where
Hey, well, let's see the chaos, he says. He challenges us to show him the chaos. So here you have it right there. Here's another angle of that, too. According to Jimmy Kimmel, this is not chaos. According to CNN, this is... Oh, look at that peaceful protesting. Look at all this peaceful...
This is a fireworks show, y'all. This ain't a peaceful... it's not even a peaceful protest. I think it's just a fireworks show. Maybe that's what it is. These people are fucking stupid.
Protesting going on, guys. They see, like I said, all right, so you saw it right there. I was not a conspiracy theorist. The journalists on the ground were not lying. Here you see a tear gas can get deployed at protesters, what does he do? He
Picks
throws
it
it
up and
back.
throws it back
So
at 'em,
this is
yeah.
a back and forth exchange, right? You can see some of them are carrying like trash lids as shields against munitions or things being thrown. I mean, it goes on and on here. Yeah. No King's Day, ladies and gentlemen. Let's not forget, okay? Completely peaceful protest.
And here's the next question. Here's okay. Here's the next question. Here's what I want to know. Obviously, these people have no jobs. They're making it from city to city, going from Portland to Chicago to New York. Somebody's funding that, but not only that, who's giving them the gear? Who's giving them the money to have gas masks? Why are they bringing gas masks if they didn't already know there was going to be tear gas and all kinds of bullshit? Who's paying for all that? This is crazy.
Guys. Yeah. Now, I will point out, I was not on the ground, obviously, so I'd like to actually let one of my friends, Jorge Ventura.
Wait, hold on. What did that say? Let's go back. Oh, damn it. Did I fuck it up?
I will point out, I was not on the
Oh, there
ground.
we go. No Kings, far left riders were met with pepper gas as they amassed at night to try to attack the ICE facility, up close reporting. Now, I can understand the news reporters having gas masks because they probably already know, but I've seen some of the regular people wearing gas masks, so who the hell's paying for that? Them things ain't cheap, and these people ain't working.
Obviously, so I'd like to actually let one of my friends, Jorge Ventura, over at News Nation, explain for you better what's going on there on the ground. This is as of 7:31 Pacific time last night. Still on No King's Day, still very much the same people involved. So take a listen. This was the scene in Portland that Jimmy Kimmel and Democrats claim either doesn't exist or is completely peaceful.
I have my gas mask on, and just look at the amount of tear gas being released on this crowd. Enormous amounts of it. You have the pepper ball still being fired. And look at the crowd. Many of them don't even have gas masks, and they're still in front of the ICE facility. But this is an enormous amount of tear gas. We started to notice. Oh, look at that pop. We started to notice the agents.
Yeah.
Put it on their gas.
Dude, start launching fucking bullets and shoot. I know this ain't gonna be popular, y'all, but launch a mortar. Just launch one mortar. You take the whole crowd out in one sitting. Somebody, you're gonna have to make an example. If they know they can show up and all you're gonna do is throw tear gas, they're just gonna keep doing it, man. You gotta start launching some RPGs into the crowd or something, man. Shit, start laying some IEDs. Let's pull a Taliban. Put an IED out there. That'll make them scared. They won't even know. They'd be afraid to walk near it. They wouldn't know where the bombs are placed.
That's what we knew it could be deployed. But look at the crowd control munitions. The crowd is only getting more aggressive here.
Jorge, are those flashbang grenades being deployed by the federal agents that we hear, or are those fireworks being thrown from the protesters?
Right now, Alex, those are flashbangs. You see that? They're throwing them from the roof. We have the flashbangs and also pepper ball, crowd control munitions. I just saw one individual throw back a flashbang back to the federal agents. This is just a back and forth. We have not seen these type of flashes since we've been on the ground.
Jesus Christ, dude.
I know that it's hard to hear it, but we need to have the gas mask on in order to... Wow, look at this. The amount of flashbangs. Some of the individuals are grabbing the flashbangs and throwing them right back at the federal agents.
No, we can hear you just fine, Jorge. We're seeing the strobe lights. Can you explain where those strobe lights are coming from? Is that the agents trying to, again, use tactics to clear them out?
Yeah, that's coming from the agents, Alex. We're going to back away just a bit.
Yeah, man, just fucking... This is stupid, man. Oh. Who is it that's making a lot of money that... Somebody's got to be profiting off of all the illegal aliens that have come across. I'm all for legal immigration, y'all, but you can't just be letting illegals in here committing murder, raping people, raping females. I don't get it, man. I'm not on board. Like, there's nothing that they're doing that would make me want to go out and protest. Why are these guys so worried about it? I don't get it. Is it because of the drugs? Because I know now they're blowing up the drug boats, or at least Trump has took a couple out. in the past few weeks? Is it because of drugs? Somebody going to lose a bunch of money because of this? I don't know. A lot of it just don't make sense to me. We're not getting the full story.
Here,
Yeah, maintain your
you can
distance.
follow me here. Look at this view right here. Look at this guy trying to kick the tear gas. I have, Alex, so far we have not seen this amount of crowd control munitions used on the protesters. There's this woman right here, she doesn't even have a gas mask, she's yelling at the agents. This guy just kicked.
See, look at it. Look at that shit. They're picking it up and then just trying to throw it back. Like, what do they think they're going to do? That's why I said put a bullet in one of them. You'll see that crowd disappear real fast.
The tear gas. Yeah, look at that tear gas canister right here. There's a few here.
And I guarantee you, probably like 90% of that crowd, none of them even lived there. None of them even lived there. They're probably from out of state, out of city.
That's all the agents there on the roof. They have a spotlight on this, but wow, quite the scenes right now in Portland. It is still very early here on the West Coast. Only 7:33 local time. I do right now, Alex, hear the federal helicopter. Right above the ice, see another flashbang there.
Gee, what do you know? On the supposed peaceful protest day at only 7:30 p.m. local time, it looks like a war zone, right? War-ravaged Portland, as he's been saying, as our president's been saying. You see it right there. And yet, why exactly does the national media not acknowledge it? They claim, oh, it's completely peaceful, it's fine. Well, I'd like to point out, notice how you never see any of these people on the ground, right? You'll see occasionally local news, News Nation, Jorge Ventura, he's a good guy. He's been doing a lot of this kind of protest.
But yeah, most of the big media, like CBS, shit, even Fox, I hate to say, you don't see them on the ground because they're telling a different story.
Coverage for years, even before he was at that network. Okay, Real Patriot. And there's the independent conservative journalists like Nick Sartor, Nick Shirley, Katie Davis Court, many others. But by and large, right, the very people, for instance, sitting in the White House press briefing room, never actually go to Portland to surveil it. They just simply say, oh, well, it's peaceful because our local affiliate said that it was. Well, you were never there. So again, how can you call a protest peaceful when you can clearly see, aside from a handful of reporters not at truly mainstream networks, because I still consider like News Nation to be an up and coming kind of brand, right? They're never present there.
So my question for all of you is, how would you feel if every time you showed up to work, masked militants tried to kill you? Because that's how we feel. That's our lived reality. And you guys go and tell us that we're liars, the riots aren't that bad, right? I've never seen any of you guys on the ground. In fact, I've never seen anybody representing the companies you work for.
Oh, tell them, boy, tell them. Yeah, you tell them. I ain't seen none of you fuckers on the ground. None of you. You guys are reporting and ain't got a camera one there. Are you guys scared? Are they pussies?
For on the ground. You guys come to us for interviews that never get published. Stop saying we're lying. We're not. We risk our lives every day to do the job that you guys are too afraid to do.
Yeah, exactly right. And by the way, why do many of these mainstream media reporters not want to show up, besides the fact that they're obviously on the side of Antifa and they're trying to cover up the fact that it is a very violent situation, which should be obvious?
It's been almost a week since I was at the White House. I've been covering the Chicago ICE protests since then, and I still haven't seen the mainstream media on the ground. Yeah, I haven't either. They ain't showing none of that shit. They just get on there and they're like, oh, it's peaceful.
Obvious. But I'd like to make an alternative point.
Violent Portland. Yo. Violent Portland Trantifa prostitute. Yeah, boy. That's funny. Violent Portland Trantifa prostitute. Michael Patrick Bakes. Now Michelle Paulette Banks was arrested on October 18th by Portland police for punching a woman outside. Oh, this is great. This is great. So you got a dude that supposedly is a transgender named Michelle now, punches a woman. Isn't that like, I thought dudes weren't supposed to hit women, but because he's dressed up as a dude, I guess that's legal. Oh, that's great. October. Okay, punching a woman outside the ICE facility. Bax has been a regular fixture at the riots, and I exclusively revealed that he rented the U-Haul used to transport a huge amount of riot supplies to the occupiers on the street. That's what I'm saying. Who's funding this bullshit. He was immediately released without bail. He was officially booked as a female. Out of his former Houston home, Bax operated Daddy and Boy. Oh God. Are we gonna get to see the rest of
Perhaps
that?
it's because deep down they know and they've seen how Antifa treats legitimate journalists, right? A lot of times when you're trying to film them in the process of their writing or their behavior, they'll get aggressive, they'll assault you. Right? Andy No, very infamous situation, but we've shown you others in recent memory, right? Katie Davis Court, the affiliate who now works under Andy No, same thing happened. Nick Sortor, Nick Shirley, basically every single person who's been on the ground covering the Antifa situation for real has faced that pressure. And so on one hand, these media reporters, the mainstream ones, are saying that the situation is peaceful, but on the other hand, they seem visibly too scared to go, right? So which one is it? And then, of course, they scream at Trump, it's peaceful. Okay, as Cam Higby points out, why don't you go there then? Why don't you check it out? Why? Because it's too dangerous? How could it be too dangerous if it was actually a completely peaceful situation, right?
Exactly.
And of course, this is actually the journalistic intimidation.
And see, people with common sense, they get this bullshit and they think this is so stupid. But those that don't have a brain, they buy this bullshit. But most of us that have a brain, we know it. We realize what's going on.
Is a common tactic that Antifa uses, so that way it doesn't become a national news story in terms of what's happening, because many of the mainstream national journalists are not willing to go there because it's so dangerous. So anyways, just wanted to point that out. Furthermore, you can further see that at least 3 arrests were made yesterday, although in true Portland police fashion, you can surely assume what happens next. But Andy No reports, as one example, violent Portland Trantifa prostitute, and this is actually true, like this individual has a prostitution website, Michael Patrick Bakes, now Michelle Paulette Bakes, was now arrested on October 18th by Portland police for punching a woman who was counter-protesting.
Yeah, come on, man. Where's all the females at? Why ain't the females getting mad? Where's the females at? You got a man hitting a woman, claiming that he's a woman. I mean, is that what I can do now? I can go out and start beating women and say I identify as a woman? I don't fucking think so. I'd be in jail.
Outside of the ICE facility, Bakes has been a regular fixture at the riots, and I exclusively revealed that he rented the U-Haul to transport a huge amount of riot supplies to the occupiers on the street. And this is that photo, by the way, of him assaulting.
Oh my God. That is exactly what I would picture. That's exactly what I would picture him looking like, yo. That is like stereotypical, crazy. Is exactly how I would picture that.
The woman who was counter-protesting. But of course, as you could expect, he was immediately released without bail. He was
that could be another reason why a lot of dudes ain't dating anymore. Because now you never know if you're going to... Now you never know if you're actually dating a real woman or not until you go to reach up and you end up hitting a tree trunk. You're like, what the fuck is that?
officially booked in Wokistan as a quote-unquote female. Now, again, you say it's peaceful, yet you show me this image, and clearly that's not the case. You say also that there's no grand Portland conspiracy by the police department and by the local mayor and all the city government to, of course, collude and cover up and defend the violent Antifa and Trantifa in the street, and yet you see this pattern over and over again, right? What happens? Immediately released without bail. Go figure.
Oh,
On
God. You
October
see that
18th as
picture?
well, far left rioters gathered to attack the Portland ICE facility during and after the No Kings protests. Mark Allen Lee, another individual, was arrested for assault and harassment. As you could expect, guess what happens next? He was quickly released without bail. So all I could
See, and that's the problem. They haven't, in these cities, they're telling the cops that they can't even do their job. Like some of them, they're telling them they can't arrest these people. It's like, what? Are you crazy? And if they do get arrested, they just get right back out.
basically sum this up as is Portland PD's minor attempt to make it look like, oh, we're doing something. Hey, we're arresting people. This is not a lawless, chaotic city. Please, Mr. Trump, don't send the troops. It's not necessary. They're lying to you about Portland. But we know what they do next. Hey, let's put you in handcuffs to make it look like we did something. And then what happens? All right, back out on the streets. Feel free to go riot the same exact night. There is indeed a third arrest outside of the Portland facility on October 18th. Stacy Ann Pritchard, 32, was arrested on suspicion of harassment and a second-degree bias crime. Not exactly sure what the story might be behind that one. But with that said, I want you to take a listen now as the local CBS news station in Portland.
What's that say? Uses for ICE: coffee, protein shakes, national security with an X. These people are so stupid.
Tries to frame the situation as kind of peaceful, as nonchalant. Notably, they show up late. Okay, after that chaos, finally it starts raining and the crowd starts to dissipate. And then the local news is on the ground. Again, national media, nowhere to be seen. Local news is late, so they show up and they say, oh, whoa, it looks fine to me now, right? Don't know what happened a couple of hours ago. But even then, they can't really sit there and justify it. So let's play this for you right here.
Welcome to Coin 6 News at 11. I'm Lisa Balick. Protests in Portland and in...
Wait, what's that sign say? Hey, ICE, why you got to be so cold? You know, I hate to be stereotypical, but why does it seem like everybody that's protesting are either people that are old that nobody wants to date anymore, or they got blue hair with like a nose ring where you can hook a rope through it, and or they wear a weird ass mask like this one dude in the background there. You know, it's really weird. I hate to be that way, but it's like very stereotypical. Like when you hear this bullshit, when you see the people, they look exactly like you would think.
Dozens of other cities in Oregon and Southwest Washington.
Deport billionaires? What? Look, man, that just sounds like jealousy to me. I mean, look at Elon Musk. People hate on Elon Musk, but he didn't come from money. He wasn't born rich. He made all that money himself. I'm not hating on him.
Relatively peaceful during the daytime, but that's not the case outside the ICE facility in South Portland tonight.
What do we tell you? What do we tell you, right? The moment the geriatrics went home, everything gets violent. But the geriatrics and their geriatric mainstream cable news media say, look, 10 a.m., everyone, no one has burned anything yet, okay? Nothing to see here. Democrats are peaceful. They just love the flowers. Never mind the signs, by the way, where they're openly calling for violence. No, everything's fine. And then look what happens next. Very interesting.
Tear gas, pepper bullets are being deployed for several hours. Our Ariel Salk out there live. Ariel, tell us the latest, and has that rain really put any kind of a damper on things?
Yeah, so right now, actually, federal... Yeah, so, sorry, Lisa. Right now, we're having a situation of a handful of federal agents have just exited the building. You can see them tear gassing a few protesters right there. They're moving forward. We're standing right over here just to get a good look of what's going on.
Man, these people are fucking cowards. They are cowards. They don't stand for shit, man. You see how fast they backed up? Boy, that didn't take a hell of a whole lot, did it? Bunch of cowards.
Definitely using tear gas pretty liberally. We're going to back up a little bit right now. We're going to put on our gas. So we're...
What the fuck? You got little kids there? Like, who is... What the... Is that like her mother next to her? Whoever that is? You got little kids there too? That's crazy. Man, the world's fucked up, man.
Keeping our distance right here, you can feel that
Little
pepper
kids
spray
saying, "Fuck
in
you."
the air. There's a lot less people here. I think the rain really pushed a lot of...
Look at that little kid flicking that dude off, man. Man, like I said, you need to make an example out of a couple of them. Put a few bullet holes in them. They'll disappear. They'll quit showing up too if they know you're gonna kill them. That's why they keep showing up. They know they're not gonna kill them. They're just gonna use tear gas and shit that they can mitigate. And why would these people be showing up with face mask and gas mask if they wasn't already prepared to? They already know what's going down.
people out. Not sure exactly why they're doing this. It could potentially be a shift change, which is what we saw maybe 30 minutes ago, an hour ago, where they push a lot of these protesters away from the front of the building so somebody could get their car in and out of the building. But definitely a liberal use of that pepper spray, getting people to get away from that area. We also saw at least one of the people detained released earlier, but like I said, a lot more people are here, and a lot of them came from that No Kings parade. Take a look.
Everyone. What did I tell you? Mm-hmm. Oh no, these are just random people. No, this is the No Kings event, right? This is just the continuation of it, as you could expect, right? What else is new?
Make your way to the march route if you are marching.
Thousands of people taking to the streets in Portland for the No Kings March, a demonstration opposing President Donald Trump and his policies on nationwide.
Resist Trump. This is crazy, yo.
Coin6 spoke with a retired
that lady.
teacher.
No kings, no oligarchs.
Every time we came to the form of government unit with the 11-year-olds, and we...
This is exactly what I'm talking about, y'all. Like, you could just look at these people and just tell, it's like, yeah, that's exactly who I thought would be there. You know what I mean? Maybe y'all don't get what I'm saying, but yeah, I could see that. Looks exactly like the type of people that would be there.
Get to fascism and authoritarianism and communism, and they would, in kids' words, they would cringe. They knew that this was wrong, and I hope that most of them are engaged voters.
Oh, really? You should say that to the communists at this protest about to continue their militant revolution on the streets of your city. Oh, but you won't. You won't, because you're a useful idiot like the rest of them.
Well, this is hard to watch, y'all.
The protesters.
When did we get so much stupid people? When did we get this woke bullshit? When did we get this political crap, political correctness crap? Like, where did this all come about? Because you go back like just 15 years ago, and we didn't have all this stuff. We didn't have all these riots. We didn't have a bunch of lesbians running around. We didn't have a bunch of gay dudes running around. We didn't have this fucking pronoun bullshit. They, them. And I've had some people get pissed at me, yo. They're like, I tell them, I'm like, yes, sir. And they're like, I'm a female. I'm like, you look like a fucking dude to me. I'm calling you sir. Just because your delusion doesn't mean I have to buy into your delusion. I'm going to call you what I think you are. You look like a fucking female, I'll call you a female. You look like a male, I'll call you a male. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Simple as that. You don't tell me what I'm going to call you by. I'll call you by what I think you look like. You look like a dyke, I'll call you a dyke. I don't give a shit. I mean, these people are nuts. thinking they're going to go around telling people what they're going to call them. No, I'm going to call you what I want to fucking call you. I will call you a dickhead if I want. Stop me. Unless you're willing to put a bullet in me, I'm not. Even then, I'm not really scared.
Flooding the streets of downtown Portland, crossing both the Hawthorne and Morrison bridges, shutting them both down to cars.
I hope that people will just be able to see that we are not a war-torn city, that we're actually a healthy.
You know, I'm actually kind of glad I live in Florida because you know what I don't know if it was our governor or maybe it was either the governor or maybe our senator for Florida. I don't know. But I remember one of them, and maybe it was the sheriff, the one in Orlando. But one of them got on TV and he was talking about these protesters that are blocking people from getting down the roads and shit. And he said on live television, he said, if he said, just know if you're protesting and you're blocking roadways, for people to be able to get back and forth to their homes or to their businesses, we will run your ass over. And people fucking flipped out. And he didn't get fired either. They ain't playing that bullshit here in Florida. He said that. He said, if you stand in the road and you keep people from getting to their homes and businesses, we will run your ass over. And if anybody else runs you over, oh, it was law enforcement. That's right. It was the guy in Orlando. It was the sheriff. He said, we will run your ass over. And he said, and if anybody that's a civilian runs your ass over, if we feel it was justified that you were blocking their entry to their home or you were blocking the entry to their business, they will not be prosecuted. And then this is also the same sheriff that said, we would prefer if people break into your home or business that you shoot them so that we don't have to waste taxpayer money on them. So that's what they need in Portland and Chicago. You start shooting some of these motherfuckers, you start running a couple of them over, they'll quit showing up. But the reason they show up is because they know you ain't going to do anything.
Happy, joyful city.
The march.
Everyone point and laugh, all right? Take a look at what goes down.
Tired of the bull moving on. What the fuck does that mean? That don't make no sense.
Next, just a few hours later. Wow, that dissipated quickly. Yeah.
Blasting in downtown Portland for about 3 hours. Then many of them headed to the ICE building in South Portland. Federal agents waiting for them. Tensions rising. The crowd in the street, on the sidewalk, outside of ICE. Blocking the vehicle entrance at times.
You know what? If I was one of them ICE agents or one of them federal agents, and I just accidentally shot a couple, I wouldn't be surprised if and I don't even think the guy should get charged. But, eventually one of those ICE agents might snap and just start fucking shooting real bullets into the crowd, take out a few of these dudes. I don't think he should be prosecuted either. You know what I would do? This is why I'm not president or law enforcement. I'd be like, okay, yeah, let's throw some tear gas out there, right? Just do that because that's what they're used to. Just throw tear gas out there. And they're like, oh, it's no big deal, tear gas. And then actually throw a couple real grenades out in the motherfucker. Oh, shit. Lure them in and then throw some real grenades. Boy, oh boy. The fun we could have.
Federal agents used tear gas and pepper bullets to push them back. We saw 2 people detained by federal agents, Portland police arresting several people as well. Portland police posting on their social media saying the 3 people they detained were booked.
That's that trans dude. That's that trans guy they were showing the picture of. I don't see his face, but I can already tell from the way the hair was done. That must be the trans dude that hit the shit at or punched a lady in the face. That's domestic violence, y'all.
Into the Multnomah County Jail on criminal charges, including assault, bias crime, and harassment.
Right, so again, there's the local news verifying everything that we tried to tell you.
Yeah.
Early in the day, They were going to sit there in front of the geriatrics and all the school teachers and stuff. We're going to try to say, oh, this is a completely peaceful protest. You know, we're just a hippie city. We love the flowers. We love smoking weed. Everything is just all right, right? And then hours later, what happens? Those same people, as they pointed out, it's not a different crowd of people. The same people who came from No Kings storm to the ICE facility and they start rioting. Many such cases. It's almost like even when the spotlight is on them and there's a little internal memo like, hey, act peaceful for the cameras. You know, we need to kind of display this message nationally. Turns out left-wingers are so violent, they can't even contain that sort of impulse in them. Okay? So there you have it, right? Again, in Portland, mass violence erupts, and I will repeat the question.
No Trump, no KKK, no fascist USA. Well, I mean, wouldn't what they're doing kind of be like fascist themselves in a way? I don't know. That seems a little hypocritical.
Question, where's the national media? You know, where is CNN? And you would think, by the way, since they're so obsessed, guys, with proving Trump.
You know, now maybe that's the only thing I've seen that I could agree with out of this crowd would be that lady in the pink shirt. Says Jesus is king. I could go along with that. But other than that, I haven't seen a sign that I agree with yet.
Trump wrong and fact-checking everything. Why is Caitlin Collins or any of these people not gone to Portland for themselves and see what's happening, right? Prove him wrong. Go. I dare you, right? Oh, they won't do it because they know he's right. Very interesting. Worth noting, too, by the way, that Portland is not even the only place that we saw violence at No Kings protest. Turns out yesterday that Alex Stein was assaulted by lunatics at the Dallas No Kings march. So, you know, it's a nationwide epidemic of completely peaceful protests.
Oh, no. Don't let this shit move into Florida and Texas, y'all. No. Texas, y'all need to up your game over there. No. Can't have that bullshit.
Thing here.
Oh.
Yep. Again, peaceful protesters, peace-loving hippies.
Super
guys, totally.
peaceful.
Here's a great interview with the Dallas Express of a guy who self-identifies as Antifa. I'm not sure if he's officially part of an Antifa network, but as I said, it's just like Islamic terrorism. You have random copycats and you have the formal organizations, and it falls under the same umbrella, right? But this guy who was present at the Dallas No Kings event, again, we're told Antifa doesn't exist, and here he is right here. Okay, we found Antifa, guys. We found the...
Yes, we found Antifa.
Idea, walking in human form. How could this be the case? But very interestingly, you know, he won't give his name, but he admits he travels nationwide to Portland and other cities, which really begs the question, I mean, where's he getting the money for doing that? But
exactly, that's what I'm saying. These people have no jobs. They're going from city to city. Half the people in these riots don't even live in the city that they're rioting in. So somebody's funding this bullshit. You know, they're not paying for the plane tickets. They're not paying for the gear. They're not paying for the supplies. Are they being funded by somebody here? Or are they being funded by Mexico? Are they being funded by, I don't know, maybe Hamas? It'll be Dion. I have no fucking idea.
I don't know. Check it out.
I traveled the country. I went to Florida. I went to Missouri. I've been to Indiana, Texas, Oklahoma, Washington, Portland, and I'm here to spread anti-fascism.
What? I'm here to spread anti-fascism. And look at this dude. He's got a knife on him, or shank, depending on where you're from. He looks like he might have a firearm on his side. Yeah, this dude looks like he's ready. He's ready to go to war.
Because America was never fascist and it never will be. Not as long as any anti-fascist lives.
Okay. Who do you consider to be a fascist in your eyes?
Well, currently, the whole Trump administration may not be entirely fascist at this point, but they're quickly going towards authoritarianism and totalitarianism. But that's all. That's the only comment that I'm going to be giving. I'm going to keep.
Oh, really? You've traveled the country, you say? That's interesting. I wonder how you're doing that. But I would like to point out.
Okay, but then let's play devil's advocate if we want to be fair, right? Let's play devil's advocate. Let's say that what if he's really not with Antifa? What if that's somebody that just dressed up in all that gear, put Antifa on front, and is just claiming he's Antifa, but really has nothing to do with the organization? I don't think that's possible, but it could be plausible to say, hey, go out there, dress up as Antifa, and say these lines to make Antifa look bad or good or one way or the other. I mean, I don't know.
Out, you might have noticed something. He is carrying the official flag of Antifa, right? This is something that we are told does not exist. Now, interestingly, you see this flag less these days, largely because Rose City Antifa, the Strike Network, many others are kind of scared of federal crackdown, so they're trying to like retreat from an organized identity. But keep in mind, okay, this is something you saw a lot during Trump 1, and it is the official logo of anti-fascist action, which is not some random thing that some leftist made in their basement. No, this is a copycat of the original official logo that originates from the KPD, right? The Communist Party of Germany back in the 1920s and early 30s, which was founded, right, called anti-fascist.
You know, I can understand if we were having like another Holocaust, right? Like if we were literally like killing thousands and millions of people of a particular race, then I could see people rioting and having a fit. I don't really see what the big deal is these people are making out of this whole ordeal. I just don't get it. Apparently somebody way, way high up, either in a company, they must have something to lose by Trump being in office. They're losing a bunch of money. Maybe it's because of the drugs. He's blowing up their ships as they're trying to get the drugs over here. I don't know. It don't make sense to me.
Fascist action translated in German as a violent, militant, communist organization designed to take to the streets and actively engage in like paramilitary style behavior and militancy, right? They clash with Nazis, which is why they're celebrated, but also worth noting, they clash with pro-democracy groups, moderate conservatives, moderate social liberals, social democrats, all of those things, because why? They were violent, revolutionary communists, and that is exactly what this flag represents. It again originates directly from a Communist Party. It's still used by communists in the United States today who engage in much of the same exact violent militant behavior that.
And why are these people so upset about him being a billionaire? You know, I've seen a lot of people who are mad that there's just a billionaire that's president. I mean, you got Democrats and Republicans in Congress that steal millions of dollars. They come in broke and they go out millionaires, but they're not bitching about that. I mean, and he didn't even make his billions in being in Congress or in politics. He made his billions through a business. I can see if he was in political office and all of a sudden he's a billionaire and he's been there for decades. I don't know. Maybe these people are just jealous he's a billionaire.
They were back in Germany, right? And, interestingly, despite their celebration, the communists were good because they were fighting Nazis. I mean, just because one thing is bad doesn't mean the other thing's not also bad.
Right.
But it's further, historically even interesting to point out the way in which one could argue these lunatics actually made the Nazis much more popular because they were running around the Weimar Republic just mass committing violence. A lot of people were scared. They were genuinely terrified. They were terrified of the prospect, perhaps, that Germany could fall to the same fate as the Romanovs and the Russian royal family, the Orthodox churches, and all the normal civilians who were just caught up in the utter chaos and destruction that the Bolsheviks caused. And, this is frankly like a trend of history almost. Leftists come along, they agitate, they cause a bunch of problems, and then, the normal sane people try to save it. And if they don't succeed, ultimately you get a more and more extreme reaction. And ultimately, who caused the entire problem to begin with? the communists, right? The violent revolutionary leftists who just could not leave well enough alone and are constantly trying to destabilize society, which has really bad consequences. So, this is to say these guys, this flag, okay, do not associate them in any ways with being good guys, because even if they were against Nazis, no, these are like the bad guys of history. Again, you can make a strong case these guys are the reasons why the Nazis became popular with the average citizen. Not the only one, but yes, like political violence in the streets was a big reason why people became radicalized to what you might call the far right, because the far left was doing all these things. And, one side said, we're going to bring order, we're going to stop these people. So, just something kind of interesting.
I honestly wonder if they have a two-party system, just so there's always like a war going on. If we had like a one-party system, or hell, they say no kings, even if we just had a king, he ruled until he died, and then we vote in another one. Shit, that might be better, because having a two-party system, it divides everybody. Everybody's got it's like, here's the battle line, pick your side, let's fight, right? Maybe we just need to go to a one-party system. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is, but this shit's getting out of hand, man. I hope this shit don't migrate to Florida. See, here's the problem, is the smart people that live in these cities or these states, they're moving to better places where taxes are lower. Like most of California is moving east, and most of New York is moving south. So during COVID, we got a shit ton of New Yorkers down here in Florida, man. I mean, I seen more New York tags than I've ever seen in my life. And probably the same for Texas, I would assume. They probably seen more California tags than they've ever seen in their life. And those people come here, I just hope they don't fuck the whole thing up. But see, the problem is Texas and Florida can't hold the whole country. We can't fit that many people in here. We're already crowded as it is, man. I mean, where I'm at now in Florida, we got like 1 million people in this city. It's nuts.
About history to point out there. So yeah, worth noting that not only did we see actual violence at the No Kings protest yesterday, but what was perhaps much more prevalent than that was the open endorsing of that same violence by the supposedly peaceful, normal liberal members of the Democrat Party's voter base. And this is the point I've been trying to make the entire time. I've been trying to tell you, by the way, these Democrat politicians who claim they broadly condemn political violence, but we're not going to be specific about where it's coming from or who's doing it, they say that for a reason. Because they openly are coddling and kind of covertly even working alongside Antifa and the militant left. And the same is true, by the way, of even the No Kings protesters who themselves don't want to get in trouble. But when you break down and ask them, hey, how do you really feel about the violent people? They'll tell you, right? We saw multiple signs yesterday openly celebrating Antifa, right? Saying, I am Antifa. And we just showed you that again, right? Shirts of people who probably are not even in the official Antifa organization, declaring themselves to be.
Why would you, like, take this old man right here, right? He's probably got to be in what, his 60s, 70s, maybe? Possibly even 80s for all we know. If I was at that age, I think I would have better shit I'd like to do. Like maybe there's a show on TV I'd want to watch. The last thing I'd want to do is fucking go down there and march about something that just seems crazy to me, man. I mean, are all these people unemployed? Like, do they not work? Because honestly, I think if you're working, you ain't got time to protest. You ain't got time to be down there doing that shit. I don't know. Now, if they're retired, I understand that, but most of these people are not retired. I mean, I don't know. Maybe if they'd work, they wouldn't have time to protest.
That to show solidarity with the violent communists. And of course, many other scenes like this that you might notice of people.
How would you get a job with that? Put on your resume, I'm a professional protester. That's what I do for a living. What kind of jobs can you apply for with that?
People who dressed up and came to the No Kings rally dressed as Tyler Robinson, the Charlie Kirk assassin, wearing that exact same outfit.
I didn't realize that. Yeah, that's the same shirt the guy that killed Kirk. that is, see, I don't get it, man. I don't care if you like Charlie Kirk or not, man. He was still a human being. He had a family. He had a wife. He had kids. He didn't deserve to go the way he did, and not as young as he did. But see, that's the problem. We got to quit being so nice to these people. These people have shown that they're willing to be violent, so we got to be violent back. This is one of them things where, yeah, we've tried to be diplomatic. We would like for it to be diplomatic, but diplomatic ain't working. And sometimes you got to fight violence with violence, fight fire with fire. And that's probably what's going to have to happen to get this shit under control.
That is right. The party of peace, ladies and gentlemen, the party that condemns political violence, but let's just glorify the politically violent people. And this old geriatric doing it even. And then this old geriatric's going to say, oh, we're peaceful. What political violence? I have no idea. Really? You mean to tell me you have no idea? Okay? This is why I don't just write off a lot of like the geriatric Democrats as, oh, they're just brainwashed because they watch too much MSNBC. No, you have to like know things. He knows exactly what he's doing. He is an inherently violent, deranged, insane person. He just doesn't want to do it himself, right? He's a coward, so he's going to kind of live vicariously through the young violent radicals and show how much he supports them. And then have the nerve to wave the American flag in the process. But of course, what are Marxists in this country currently trying to do? Hijack American greatness and American symbols. This is why they say the World War II soldiers were Antifa, or the Founding Fathers were the No Kings. But anyway.
Yeah, that's kind of like, I don't agree with all this bullshit where they're taking down statues, where they're taking down statues of General Robert E. Lee, the Civil War guys, a couple of the presidents. I mean, it was history, man. Whether it was good or bad, it was our history. And we need to remember our history, because if we don't, you'll repeat it, man. You'll repeat it.
You want any symbol of everything yesterday in the No Kings protest? Look at this guy right here, right? He's in the front row. No one next to him says, dude, what the heck is wrong with you? You're vile, you're scum, why you're doing it? No, because they all feel the same way. Every single one of these people are complicit. Every single one of these people are, again, as I've been saying, the useful idiots for the communists, if not openly a part of the communists themselves. And there you go. With that said, guys, let me know your thoughts on all of this in the comment section down below. Be sure to leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel if you were.
All right, that was good, guys. I appreciate y'all tuning in with me tonight. This was definitely a stream we needed to do to catch up on some things since I didn't get streamed last night. I will definitely try to be back here tomorrow between like 5 and 9 Eastern time. I know Burge, which is one of my subscribers and followers, he had mentioned something about doing a stream on D-Day. So we'll try to do that. I don't know if I want to try to do it tomorrow if I can. If not, we'll do it another day. But yeah, I appreciate you guys tuning in with me, man. This was definitely a fun stream. And hopefully things get better and not worse, man, because shit. I mean, the way things are going, man, you're going to need a couple AR-15s, right? But I appreciate you guys tuning in. If you want to stick with me for a little bit and listen to some metal, you're more than welcome to. But otherwise, I will see you guys tomorrow. I appreciate you guys tuning in with me tonight. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Take care, y'all.